Oh gosh, just do it. What are you doing? Uh, I believe, hello everybody, I'm the okayest bassist, but where? No, I don't want that. Go away. There we go. Oh, that's not the camera angle. Do the camera. I think that's the right one. Maybe. Maybe it's this one. Good view of boxes. There we go. Hello, everybody. I'm the okayest bassist, and this is fun. Went through and tried to do this whole YouTube separating my personal email from the channel so that I can do some cool stuff later on. And I guess in doing so, it decided to make it where I no longer had permission to live stream on my channel without resetting a bunch of stuff. So, hopefully this is working. Gonna pull out ye old phone here and see if I can find this, because I don't see anybody watching. But the BASSics Volume, let's see what we get. Hey, it says I'm live, so handy that. Okay, so we are live. Awesome. Seems like things started working again. Thank you to the wonderful guides of the folks at Restream, because the YouTube side was absolutely not helpful. So, yes, thank you, my dear wife. Until somebody else comes in, I guess I'll, there we go, crop out the crap. Maybe I should be slightly taller. And that won't fall over. That's good. Okay. So, there is not a particular topic for today. I did ask the group that I use for the instructors. Nobody had anything. So, I don't really have a topic of discussion. Let me look at my notes from way longness back. Where do I have those? Not in my drive. They're not there. I hope they didn't get deleted. That would suck. Go away, pages. I want files. Give me my files. I don't see them. They are definitely not there. Okay, so I now need to find. I now need to find my list again. Hooray! Luckily, I had that in chat way back when. Let's see if I can locate and try to find a topic that I am anywhere near qualified to discuss. Huh. Da, 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 da. Well, I'm not seeing anything. Okay. Oh well. So, topics of discussion. There's only my lovely wife, it seems, watching right now. Sorry for everyone who missed it because of the fact that it was not on time. We'll try again another day. Well, a week from today, as a matter of fact. So, topic of discussion. If I don't have anyone else who hops in, then I'll just end it because of the fact that it's going to be short anyway. Topic of discussion. One thing I can talk on. When you get an instrument, if you get something new, used, secondhand, however you want to look at it, if you ever get an instrument, I recommend two things. One, definitely follow any instructions packed with it. For example, Sweetwater, if you order something through them, they Good point. Time change may mess with people. They may not realize that I still do this at, 5 on the clock, not 5 when it used to be. Anyway, um, Sweetwater include, during the winter, they have a green label that they put on the edge of the boxes that basically says, hey, we know you want to open your stuff, but please give it a day sitting in the box so it can slowly acclimate to the temperature, because it would have gone from a warehouse into a truck, into a truck, into a truck, all through the world of shipping. So if you have instructions sent to you, follow them. That's important. And another thing I will note is I heavily recommend doing a good inspection. I recently got an instrument. I won't say what company because they've taken care of everything. But I recently got an instrument from a company, and as I was recording the unboxing video, I noticed a rattle. Thought, well, that's not good. So I ended up opening the battery compartment. Nothing. Opened up the control cavity. Nothing loose in there either. Ended up pulling the pickups. Nothing loose in there. So all I can think is, I know that instrument that I had ordered is supposed to be chambered. So I don't know if a piece of wood broke loose from inside the chambering, or if somehow maybe in the routings that connect the battery compartment to the control cavity and all that, somewhere in there was a loose something or other, and when you would tip the instrument you could hear it rattle its way from each end, and if you shook the instrument back and forth, you could hear something moving. The company has already taken charge of it. They're sending a replacement instrument. We're returning the one that I got. Everything's completely fine. But I recommend doing a thorough check. I have another instrument that I got recently from a different company that was sold as new. But they said it is new, but it's been in the store. When you get it, everything's fine. So I got it and I started looking it over, and I found a couple of lines of like belt buckle rash across the back. The front of it had a couple of scuffs and nicks, as if someone had like maybe hit it with keys or something, or had sharp nails. I don't know. But either way, I reached out to them as well. It was a big company, so they took care of me. I'm not going to say who either of these were. They were two different big companies, and the folks took care of the situation. One of them, like I said, with the rattling one, they're just replacing it. The other one, they said we could exchange it, no charge, but the only other one we have is also in the store. So you might get one better, you might get the same, you might get one worse. So they just opted to do a partial refund of about 12.5%, which was more than fair. It's not like the thing was broken and didn't work or any major chunks missing of it. So it was a very fair, amicable answer for us to be able to get that done. So I just recommend when you get new gear, especially an instrument, that you check it over. Make sure that you look at the tuners, spin them a good amount each way, loosen the string a whole bunch, tighten it back up. My wonderful uke bass made by Hadeen or Hadeen, I don't know how to pronounce it, Hadean. Apparently it's exclusively sold through Rondo Music. The strings they're the like rubber poly strings, whatever they are. And I noticed that each time I was having to tune them, because they are the rubber, they stretch. So you have to do quite a bit of turning of knobs in order to get a major change. And I noticed that, of course, over time, more and more wraps of the string have gone around the post. And at that point, they were starting to overlap each other. Like it had gotten all the way to the bottom of the post, going around, and it was starting to go back up. Well, the problem is the strings are so thick, they were about to rub each other going from the nut. They're supposed to spread, and they were starting to get close enough that they were hitting each other. So I detuned the strings, which takes a lot because, again, the strings themselves stretch. I detuned the strings, cut a couple inches off of them so that I could put it back on. And while tightening the strings back up, two of the four gears stripped. Have no idea why. They just did. So I've had to replace those. That would be a thing I've never checked before. And of course, if you have closed gear tuners, you can't even see if the gears have sheared at all. But I definitely would recommend now what a thing that I do, because I change out all my strings when I get an instrument anyway, once I've confirmed it works. But I would heavily recommend detuning the string, retuning the string, even if you're keeping the same strings. That way, that there behind my left shoulder. So this is my left shoulder. You're talking about this one proper? That one's not even on the channel. I think that one's not even set to release until like September, October. So, surprise. It's for sale, by the way, if anybody wants to pick it up on Reverb. It's a 4-string and it's only active. I knew it was a 4-string. I did not realize it was only active. So, I'm selling it. So, if you're interested, there you go. It's on Reverb. You can find it. It's a Frank Bello signature by Charvel. If anyone's interested, message that you saw it here on the channel. I give you a discount. Anyway, when you get an instrument, though, again, I would heavily recommend that you try out everything. Make sure everything works. Make sure the electronics work. Turn all of your knobs. Even if you're only going to play in passive, turn all the knobs. Make sure each thing on the instrument is working. And then you're good to start, playing it and all that. The reason I say all this is because, having bought many instruments, and way more than what you see here, way more than what's on the channel, and way more than what's about to be on the channel. Having bought as many instruments as I have gotten things that are very good. Many of the things I've gotten have had absolutely no problems. There are plenty of other things that I've bought that have had a lot of problems. And most places, like I know Musician's Friend, shout out to Carol, extension 2450. I know that Musician's Friend has a 45-day return policy. I want to say Sweetwater is 30 or 45. Different places have different return policies, of course. Reverb, it's up to the seller. Like on mine, anything I've ever sold, I give them 3 days from when it's delivered. Like, if you have an instrument delivered and you haven't opened it and used it within 3 days, either you're not there to test it out, so I don't know what's happening. I don't know if you've left it out in the rain. I don't know if you've left it out in the snow. I don't know if you've left it out in 120 degree, 80% humidity weather. I don't know what you've done with it. But if you've gotten an instrument and you've not opened it and tested it within 3 days, my personal stance as an individual, not a major company, is you are pleased with that instrument within those 3 days. If it's something someone ordered for you, they should be communicating that up front. Like, hey, I'm buying this for my girlfriend, but it's for her birthday. That's going to be in 2 weeks. Like, you should always check the return policy on what you buy, because you may buy something from an individual, and that individual may just say, I don't do returns. Like, you get everything as is. I've described if it has scuffs and scratches. I've described if a pickup doesn't work. If you didn't read the description and my return policy, that's on you. That's not a very fair way to do things. Like, if anything that I have has scuffs and scratches, I try to go over all of it before I list it. But either way, check your listings of what you buy. Like this Frank Bello signature that I didn't read. I just saw it. It was an awesome deal. I bought it. And then I find out that it's only active. I was willing to deal with a 4-string because I don't have anything P-bass shaped, and it's a PJ, and it's EMG-X pickup, so that's pretty cool. It's got the maple neck with the block inlays. I don't care for the pick guard, the mirror pick guard, but I can make a pick guard. That's not hard. Make a blank pick guard, pre-drill, carve out so that the screws can go in, put it in the exact same spot, keep the mirror one in case I sell it, which I'm just going to sell it now. But check the listings, check the return policies, and then when you get it, then try to figure out, do you like it, what you want to do. One downside for me, I always change the strings once I get something. So once I know everything works and that I plan to keep the instrument, which I did, but I already swapped out the strings on this because I thought I was going to keep it and then I decided not to. If you do that, always save your old strings, the strings that come on the instrument. I save the strings. I have a box where all my strings go because I recycle them. D'Addario has a program through the company TerraCycle where you can recycle your old strings and they give you a handful of points. I think I recycled like a 10, 12 pound box of strings throughout all of last year. And I want to say I got like 2,000 or 2,500 points. So it's probably something like 20 points per, it's like 200 points per pound or something like that. So, I mean, it takes a decent amount, and you have to do, I think, at least 5 pounds before they'll even give you points, because, of course, they have to pay the shipping. But, I mean, it's a cool program. You can send stuff. It gets recycled. You get a little bit of points if you use D'Addario. So that's cool. But, again, on buying an instrument, always check the description. Check your return policy where you're buying it, especially if it's from an individual like on Reverb. And then when you get the instrument, if it needs to acclimate from the weather, let it acclimate. I know it sucks. Leave it in the box for a day, then open it up. Do a thorough inspection. Like, go through, have a nice cloth or rag handy where you can, if you see something, okay, well, maybe it's a hair, maybe it's dust, maybe it's dirt, maybe it's a grease stain, who knows. Have something handy so you can wipe it down just to make sure. And then when you're done, if you have any damages, if there's small scuffs and scratches that you're not worried about, then don't worry about it. But if you're going through and all of a sudden you find where somebody had to have had a 1 carat diamond ring on their finger, but it turned around backwards while they were playing, and all of a sudden there's a gouge down the neck and you're not happy with that, reach back to the place, the person, whatever. Hey, this thing came in, have a picture of it. Here's what I found. That's what I did with the 2 instruments I'm talking about earlier, is I took pictures of the scuff, scratches, and belt buckle rash, and I was like, hey, this was sold as new. This is like, it might have never been purchased by anybody, but it's definitely in used condition. 12% to me was more than fair. I was expecting like 10% because that was just what was in my head. The other instrument that I had that had a rattling loose piece inside, they didn't even offer a partial refund. And I had said, like, you know, when you're playing, you're not going to be shaking a bass. I mean, I don't think you would. Maybe you do. I don't know. You play how you want. I would have been fine if that company had turned around and said, you know, let us give you 10% back. Let us give you, if it had been more than 10%, if they'd been like, hey, let us give you a 10% refund if you're willing to keep it, because that'll save us shipping of swapping them around, I would have been fine with that too, because everything on that instrument worked. Now, granted, if you get an instrument that doesn't work, I believe I talk about this in the old LTD stream video that I put up. I got that one in. It had EMG. It was aftermarket. It had been modified because it was supposed to have like an active passive switch, and it didn't. So that's how I knew it had been modified. The place that sold it to me said they didn't know that it had been modified. They thought that someone had just bought it and traded it in because they'd swapped the pickups to EMGs, but they were a different kind of EMG. Anyway, that one came in, and I thought it had 2 master volumes because when I'd turn one knob down, it would cut all the volume. But if I did that on another knob, it cut all the volume. Turned out one of the pickups had failed, or was failing, because every now and then, like, you could do a metal tap test and you could get signal out of it, but then it like wouldn't pick up the string being played, or if it did, it cut in and out, or it was super weak. One of the pickups was failing, eventually failed. I reached out to the place from which I bought it, and they were like, oh, hey, we are sorry, because I pointed out, like, it's supposed to have a switch, but it has a knob. this inside, these are not the controls. So they ended up saying, okay, take it to a tech, a luthier nearby, whatever, have them look it over, let us know what it would cost to fix it, and we'll go from there. I let them know that the luthier said, hey, I can order you a new pickup. That's all this really needs is one pickup. I ended up finding a pair of used pickups, EMGs, so they just plugged right in. I found those used for $80. They said, okay, how much was your shipping? I said shipping was just over $20. They're like, okay, how about we just give you $100 back? We'll pay for those pickups. If they're EMGs, you can install them yourself, or if you want to have someone else do it, you can pay them, but we'll cover the cost of the pickup, because one brand new pickup would have been $100. So I agreed to that, and that was fine. Just make sure that you're respectful. Respectful. Don't be an entitled bitch. So you probably shouldn't say that word, but anyway, don't message somebody, how dare you sell me this piece of crap. Don't do that. As soon as you start being a jerk, that person's probably going to want to be a jerk too. If you have a problem, be respectful. Send them a message. Hey, sorry to bother you, but this instrument that I got from you, it arrived, whatever. If you had to give it time to acclimate, it arrived yesterday. I got it inside. I gave it a day to acclimate. Let them know. Let them know that you did your due diligence to make sure that everything on that instrument stayed as good of condition as possible. I've had instruments come in where there looks like a fist has just shot through the box. Like there's a hole in the box. I've immediately taken a picture of it, sent it to the person. Hey, the instrument came, this is the box. If it has an inner box, I'll take pictures of that too. The outer box was busted. Inner box was okay. I didn't see any signs. I think we're good. I just wanted to let you know, so when I get do you want me to still open the instrument? They always say yes. They're never going to be like, well, the inside box is fine, I still think you should send it back. No, they're not. They're there to sell stuff. There you go. So you open the outer box, if it's trashed, whatever. If you get to the inner box and it's damaged, definitely do not open that inner box until you've heard from them. Because if it's like a brand new one, the companies that sell those usually have some sort of insurance on it, so they can make a claim with UPS, FedEx if there's a problem. But check with them first, because they may say, you know what, no, send it back to us, let us send you a replacement. Just be communicative. Make sure you have that good communication and make sure it's respectful. So you send them the message, hey, this outer box busted. Inside box was fine. I'm going to go ahead and open it. I just wanted you to know beforehand. If the inside box is damaged, again, wait until they respond. Let them say whether or not they think you should open it. If you then message them back, hey, I opened up the instrument and it has a rattle inside. I opened up the instrument and when I plugged it in, it has no output. I've checked the battery. The battery's good. I've tried putting it in passive mode. It still has no output. I double checked my cable, my wireless system, whatever. It works on everything else. The only thing is the bass. So I don't know what you would like me to do. Would you like me, if you're comfortable with it, would you like me to open the control cavity to see if maybe there's a wire not connected on the jack? If it's a single pickup, do you want me to check the wiring, or what would you like? And then they may turn around and say something like, hey, yeah, no, don't open it. Don't mess with it. Like, if it's not working, we just want it back. I've had companies who have done the opposite. They've been like, hey, yeah, if it's not working, go ahead and open it up. And if you can figure it out, let us know what it is and we'll try and help you get it fixed. Just like the LTD Stream, they didn't have an answer for it. They couldn't look at it. Shout out to Bass Shop Seattle, by the way. They were the ones I got the LTD Stream from. Had to remember who they were. They were awesome folks. But again, just be respectful. Hey, I wanted you to know this happened. How do you feel about me doing this to fix it? Or, hey, I wanted you to know this is the situation. I've already, like in the case of the one that I opened that had the rattle, I thought, okay, a piece of whatever, plastic, some soldering, a screw, fell into my first thought was the control cavity. Like something fell in there. That's what I'm hearing. But I open that up, I move around the rat's nest of wires that were inside because it had active electronics as well as passive. So there's too many wires in there. Moved them around, tipped it up, shook it, still heard the rattling, but nothing came loose. So I checked the battery compartment, ended up pulling the pickups. Like, those are all things that I know don't void a warranty because I didn't mess with anything. I just took some screws out. So, and then I messaged and I said, hey, here's what I did. There was the problem. I tried to fix it. It didn't work. What would you like me to do from here? But again, and then, well, my wife put in a comment that you'll likely get better than you expect if you're kind and go into the conversation not expecting the moon and stars. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I went into the one where it just had scuffs and scratches. I went into that expecting, okay, they're going to turn around and say, let us give you a partial refund. I expected that. I paid for a new instrument and I received one that was, it might not have ever been sold, but it was a used instrument. Minorly used. They were minor cosmetic problems. But on that note, if I pay full price for a new instrument, I expect a new instrument. So I was going into it thinking, okay, I paid a few $100 for this thing. They should at least be offering, tens of dollars back, 10%. That's what I was thinking. If they'd turn around and said, "Oh, we'd like to give you 5% back," I would have respectfully pushed, been like, "Here's the thing, if I were to buy one of these used, here's how much they go for." I could return it, get my money back, and buy a used one in this same condition. Maybe better, maybe worse, but I understand that it's used at that point. And again, as long as you're respectful of, hey, honestly, here's what I was thinking, and the worst they can say is, no, we can't do that. You have the option of sending it back or taking this offer. Okay. Don't go into something being a complete jerk. Like, don't order an instrument, you find out it has some belt buckle rash, which is on the back that no one else is going to see, and then you get a hold of the place saying, well, you cheats, you con artists, you complete jerk faces, how dare you send me this damaged instrument, it's completely unplayable. Hello, Germany, folks. I didn't know anyone in Germany ever knew my channel existed. So if you found me by accident, I'm sorry. If you found me on purpose, why? I appreciate you very much. But, and I don't know what time of day it is, so I'll just say Guten Tag. I don't even know if I pronounced that right, but hey, there you go. Anyway, so be kind. That's a good message for anything, but be kind when you're reaching out to them, and they're a lot more likely to work with you anyway. Nobody wants to work with someone who's being a jerk. Plain and simple. But if you get an instrument, if the damage is on just the packaging and the instrument's fine, you've already let them know there was package damage. So if a few days down the road stuff starts being weird, you might be able to fall out on that. Be like, hey, it was working fine for a couple days, but now after playing it a while, I'm realizing this. They could still look to try to do a shipping claim. Again, if you've already researched a return policy, you'll know after a while if it's something like, this seems a bit too much, I'd like to send it back. There you go. But if you do a good inspection of the instrument you get, then you can turn around and talk to the person or the company and be like, hey, this isn't what I expected. It's not what I wanted. What can we do to fix this situation to make it more in line with what I'd hoped? And if you're a person who, I want my instrument in perfect, pristine condition, that's fine. Get a hold of them. Hey, I opened this thing. It's got some scuffs and some scratches. I am not happy, so I need it replaced. Let's see. Dibble, AMP, Lobster, Bully, me. Is that the evolution of how far down the bass tuber rabbit hole you've gone? You started with Johnny Dibble, I would presume because he's more local, being in the UK, and then you went to AMP because Dibble probably mentioned AMP, and then you found Lob because Lob's like everywhere. And then you found Bully because Bully's awesome and has done stuff with Lob. And then you stumbled onto me and you decided, what the heck? I might as well stick around. This guy's not completely awful. So that's my presumption of how you managed to get here. But that's kind of that's a thing that's just happened to me recently. So that is something I had on my mind that I knew I could talk about. Again, if you just make sure you do your due diligence, do your research on your seller before. In my case, I prefer to order stuff either through Carol at Musician's Friend, extension 2450, or through Tim at Sweetwater, of whom I have contact info. He doesn't have a direct extension, but Tim at Sweetwater can be reached at 1-260-217-4510 by call or text. I do love how Sweetwater has their stuff set up. I've used Carol for years to help me order stuff. That sounds rude. I've used Carol. I've worked with Carol. Better. I've worked with Carol on ordering stuff for years now. But then I got connected with Tim at Sweetwater because there was stuff that Musician's Friend didn't carry and Sweetwater did. So I did my own advice, which is called and talked to somebody. I ended up getting with Tim. Tim can be called or texted, and he is awesome. He's like Carol. He's awesome. He will work with you if you need help getting something financed. He'll help you get a card applied for if you've got to do that. He will help get you a deal. A couple times it's been like hey, we already have this marked down, but how about I throw in a pack of strings at half price or free, whatever. So they're both awesome. I love working with them. They are my preferred option when it comes to getting gear, because one, it's going to be new, so I don't have to worry about has somebody, thrown it in the back of a truck and driven around with it in a soft padded case and it's not gotten scratched, but it's gotten bounced everywhere. And then I know they will work with me to get a deal put together. And then for me personally, the biggest reason is I have a limit of how much I can spend on a card, so I can't just buy a new bass every single week all the time. And then I can, with them, because of the cards, I can finance stuff with zero interest. So I'm paying the same amount, but it makes it easier to digest over the months. And then basically, at the point that I run out of credit, then I can only get instruments when I sell the ones that I currently have. Another comment. Let's see. It is, and your pronunciation was excellent. Local time 23:46. So here in the US, we have a thing called daylight savings time, which means last night, due to a decision made hundreds of years ago, the majority of the country was robbed of 1 hour of sleep. The hour 2 turned into the hour 3 instantaneously. So for me right now, it is 17:49. So I am sorry you are still awake unless you are a night person, in which case, cool. I'm not. I get up at like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning every day. And if it's my day off, I'll sleep in until like 6 or 7 because I'm lazy like that. But I'm happy you found me. It's pretty fun. Fun knowing that there's somebody international. You might be that one outlier on the statistics because it tells me like 99%, but it never says who the other 1% is. But then again, I also figure whenever it tells me by country, there's a huge chunk that it just doesn't have an answer, and I presume that's VPNs. So that's cool. But I would guess Mike. I'm sure it's not like the English Mike, but Mike. Anyway, Phonen. I'm probably butchering that. I'm sorry. I'm just guessing. But I appreciate you being here. That's cool. You've given just as many comments as my wife. So happy to see someone in Germany likes to talk to me as much as my wife does. And then Proper had one in there, so appreciate Prop. Prop's been on before, so Prop's had to talk to me a bunch, so he's probably still recovering from that. Excuse me. So, again, quick recap. I prefer going if I can get new gear. I go for new gear because I can finance it. But if I find used gear that I'm looking at new on a huge price difference, then I'm going to go for that. This one, the blue EHB 1505 MS, that one I was looking at new, and then I ended up finding that one on Reverb for $1,200. So it was not worth it to buy it at full price, finance it over the like 4 years. When yes, it's you pay like a 2% fee up front and then zero interest. It wasn't worth doing that to pay the extra like 500 some odd dollars, because I believe those went new or 16 or 1700 at the time. Then you'd have had to add in taxes and the 2% fee. So it was cheaper to go that way. The 6 string EHB, the 1506 that I had, those run like, I think at the time they ran 18, now they're like 1900, I think. I got it for $1,200 tax shipping and all. So again, I bought it used because it was cheaper to get it used than it was to buy it new and then just pay little bits over time. But again, on the instruments, if you typically buy used gear because you get it cheaper, that's fine. But you're buying used gear, expect that they're used. Ask questions. I know everybody wants I want it now. If I wait, I'm going to lose out. And that may very well happen. But patience is a virtue. And if you message the person to be like, hey, I looked through the pictures, everything looks great. Are there any damages I need to know about? Are there any scuffs, scratches, dents, and dings? Is there a tuner that is a little harder to turn at some points? Whatever. Just asking that quick question lets them know you're interested in their instrument while simultaneously letting them know that you are going to be inspecting that instrument. So if they come back and go, no, I just looked it completely over, doesn't have a blemish on it, and then you get it and you take a picture of the 3-inch scar jagging across the back where somebody had a belt buckle and scratched the crap out of the back of it, and you send that to them going, what about this? You said it had no damage, but there's obviously damage on it. Did you by chance have 2 of them and you sent me the wrong one? Or could this have happened while it was getting packaged or shipped? Also, what can we do about it? Because this. If it's a new instrument, then you presume it's in new condition and it shouldn't have any damage or blemishes. But make sure, if you have a good connection or a good relationship with the person through whom you're buying, then that's going to make you a big help. Like, I talk to Carol a lot. I talk to Tim a lot. So these are people that I don't even get questioned. If I send them an email with pictures of the instrument I just got and show it, or in Tim's case, I took a snippet of the unboxing video where I found the rattle, held it to the microphone and shook it, sent it to him and sent him isolated audio. He didn't need it. He'd already gotten a replacement set up on, well, I did that one now, didn't I? Anyway, he'd already gotten a setup of the replacement for the instrument. He took care of it. When I've had stuff that I've had to get a hold of Carol on, this 1505 SMS, when I bought it, there were damages to the body. It was listed as open box, excellent, like new condition. Cool. It was like $200-300 off the regular price, so I ordered it. I got it in. There was a small little chunk out of one of the edges that was messed up. There were scuffs and scratches on the back of the body, so it looked like someone had gotten it out and played it, and it probably rubbed against their belt. And one of the tuners had like a scratch or a blemish or something on it. I don't remember now, and I could go look, but I don't care anymore. And I'd messaged Carol, and I was like, hey, this thing was supposed to be in like new condition. I expected there might be a little bit of, whatever on it, but here's what's going on. And she ended up sending I think it was like 10 or 15% as a partial refund, because it was listed as like new, but the pictures that I sent showed no, it had definitely been through some stuff. So if you have a good relationship, that'll help. If it's someone you've never talked to before, random Jim Bob on Reverb or wherever you buy something, eBay, what have you, be respectful, be communicative. Don't let the only message you send them be, here's what's wrong with it, what are we going to do about it? Let them know, hey, got it in, shipping box was fine. The packing on the instrument was great. But here's what I found. I'm going to do a couple more. I'm going to do another good look at it. I'll let you know if I find anything else. I just wanted to know about this. Is this something you mentioned in the description? Is this something that you already knew about? Because you may have missed it. I mean, it could have been a 5-page description of, I got this instrument from my uncle who played it touring for, and you just skipped over all of it because, hey, this is the thing I'm looking for and it's way cheap. I'm going to buy it. And then you skipped the part where the uncle gigged with it for 3 years and obviously it's going to have damage. So, and that may be the case. Be humble enough to accept if you missed something. Because if they disclosed a damage, I bought a bass that the person flat out said, "Hey, there's a big scuff on the back of the instrument," and they had a picture. I bought it. I didn't notice that in the picture, so I went back and I checked the listing, and sure enough, when I knew what to look for, I found it. However, a different instrument I ordered, I saw it was the instrument I wanted. It said it was in good shape. I bought it. When it came in, one of the tuners was the wrong color, so they'd replaced it. One of the bridge pieces, it had individual saddle pieces. One of those had been replaced. So I don't know if something had hooked onto a string and broke it off. I don't know. But that thing was beaten badly. And I reached out to the person, and they're like, it was all in the pictures. And I was like, no, because what's in the pictures is at an angle where there's no light reflecting to see like the gouges that are in this body. Yes, the back you had the picture, but you also have flash on, and it just so happens the glare is right where all of the gouging is on the back, where it's been roughed. Also, yes, I see the tuning thing. That one I thought was just like lighting, and that person and I had it back and forth, and I about sent the instrument back. Some people will be jerks, and you just have to deal with that. But remember, at the end of the day, you bought the product. You have two options. You have the option to send it back if they will let you. If they won't let you, keep your communications. If you paid online, you paid with a credit card, PayPal, some sort of digital service. You can reach out to your payment source and be like, "Hey, I bought this thing. Here's the communication. I need you to contact this person because they are not working with me. They sold me something that isn't what they described. I need help." And then they might turn around and say, "Hey, I've had to do that with PayPal. Like, hey, I bought this thing from this person and it's not what they described." And PayPal reaches out to them. And if they ignore PayPal, PayPal just goes, all right. And then they refund you and you have the thing. Then you can do with it what you want. Just, hello, Dino. Just keep in mind that at the end of the day, when you buy something, you have that ability when using a digital service to request that the payee intercede. If it's through a service like Reverb, eBay, whatever, you can go through their customer service. If it's through a company, again, that's why I like to order things over the phone. Even if there was some product that was only on sale for one day, and I knew for a fact Carol wouldn't be able to help me with Musician's Friend if I didn't order it that day. Maybe it's a used item that they only have one, and it's something like, holy crap, someone's got a Dingwall NG3 listed on Musician's Friend for $1,000. That's like way less than half price. If I have the money for it, then yeah, okay. If I can't get a hold of Carol, I would end up reaching out to another person, and then I would say, hey, I normally deal with Carol at extension 2450, but I can't get a hold of her, but I really want to order this instrument. Is there any way you could get her? Can you see if she's working? And if so, could you get me to her? And if she's not working, could you help me with this order and then get her a message that I'm sorry, but I didn't want to wait because I was worried that, less than half price, someone had messed up the price and I wanted to take advantage of that. Just make sure that whomever it is with whom you do that order, take a note somewhere. If you get an email, respond to that email. Okay, I talked to Jim Bob. That way, if there's a problem, you can reach back and be like, hey, I did this order. The guy's name was Jim Bob. Can you help me get a hold of Jim Bob? So that we can talk about this order that I got in. Because I ordered this, this Dingwall in G3. $1,000. I probably should have thought something was up with it, but then I got it in and it has no tuners and no pickups and no bridge. Nothing in the description said it was missing everything but pieces of wood. Kind of need a whole working base, so I need to know if I'm sending you guys this back or if we can fix it in somehow. We need a Carol perspective interview. I have tried. Musician's friend does not allow their workers to do anything like this. I've asked, she actually asked her supervisors. They said it is okay for me to mention her name and her extension, and that's it. Like, she can't come on the show even to promote the company. She can't come on here and be like, hey, you should order everything from Musician's Friend. And if you want, you can reach me. She can't do that. I have asked him from Sweetwater the same thing. He's waiting to find out, but their answer's basically been the same. Like, he can't come on live or be recorded with a statement of some sort for it to come out. The best I can do for him is to give out his phone number like I did earlier so that people could contact him for orders, and that's about it. So, yeah, I know, it sucks. I thought that'd be kind of fun. I thought that'd be a cool live stream. Or two, in this case, one for Carol and one for Tim. Just to be like, hey, we're going to talk about how to order stuff and what the best ways are to find new products and who the best company is, blah, blah, blah. So, it is what it is. But that's most of what I have. If you order something from someone you've never ordered from before, be respectful, be communicative. If there's a problem, let them know. Let them know what you've done. How you found the problem. Did it just show up when you started playing the thing and it didn't work? Or was it, hey, I got it here and I started taking a good look at it just to make sure everything was okay and I noticed this. Do you think that happened during shipping? Or was it something that was there before that I didn't see in the pictures? Or is it something that you don't know about and we're confused as to how it happened? Be respectful, be kind, and be patient. Like, just because you bought an instrument and it comes in and the weather's fine, you don't need to give it time to acclimate. You open it the day you get it, you look it over, you find a problem, you send that person a message. They don't have a responsibility to answer you immediately. Like, if I go on Reverb and I send someone a message of something I bought and I'm like, hey, I bought this thing, it's not what we discussed, I don't expect they're responding to me within 5 minutes, within an hour, within a day. I do typically expect a response within 24 hours. If I message them at 1 p.m., I don't expect I'm getting an answer. I don't expect them to answer that day. I would love it, but it's not a thing that I'm like, they better. No. I'm fine with 24 hours or basically the next day's end of business, sundown, however you want to look at it. After that, I would send a follow-up message and be like, hey, I messaged you yesterday just in case that message didn't come through. The thing that I got from you, it is not in the condition I was expecting. It's not in the condition that was described, whatever. I'm just waiting to see what we can figure out to get this, sorted. Give them time, and if they don't answer, if you've sent them a message, they don't answer you by the end of the day the next day, you send a follow-up message, they don't answer you by the end of the day the following day, that's when you might want to reach out to a customer service. If you bought it through Reverb, reach out to them. Hey, you guys can see the messages I've sent, I'm not getting an answer, so could you guys reach out to them through any other method than what I'm doing? If it's something you bought from a store, obviously you can just take it into the store. But if you bought it from a store, should have inspected it at the store. What I'm talking about is like it came in a box to your house or someone's house, and that's where you got it. But that's pretty much what it's something I had on my mind because it happened recently with two instruments. Two, not two. That's two, but that's three. Anyway, so that's something. Wasn't planned at all, but hey, here you go. I can rattle on for 51 minutes about crap that I didn't even have a plan to talk about. That's just a skill, or a curse, depending on which end of the conversation you're on. But, excuse me, that's about all I have on it. So, as always, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Let's see if this works.